The sharp bark of indignation shattered the morning calm. "How dare you have medical equipment outside?" the woman shrieked, her voice pitched high with fury, one manicured hand pointing a silver handgun directly at the ventilator on the porch. "This disgusting machine has to go." I didn't move at first. Years of training taught me never to react to threats without calculation. I simply shifted my stance, calmly placing myself between the woman and my daughter, who was seated in her wheelchair just behind me, her chest softly rising and falling in rhythm with the ventilator keeping her alive. The woman had no idea what she'd just walked into. She had no idea I was trained in Delta Force. And in less than 3 seconds, that weapon would be in my hand. But first, let's rewind a little. It had started like any other quiet Saturday morning. Birds chirped in the yard, the hum of spring warmth carried in through open windows, and I was kneeling on the porch adjusting the position of the backup ventilator's tubing so it wouldn't tug Olivia's neck if she shifted. We'd moved here just over a week ago, our first real home after years of bouncing between bases and rentals. A place I hoped could finally offer some stability for Olivia. The power had gone out about an hour earlier. For most folks, that might mean a missed cup of coffee or a delayed load of laundry. For us, it meant life or death. Olivia, 12 years old, sharp as a whip but trapped in a fragile body due to spinal muscular atrophy, depended on her ventilator every second of every day. The portable generator on the porch was a non-negotiable safeguard. So when I heard the woman's voice, slicing through the peaceful air like a blade, I didn't expect the confrontation to escalate the way it did. She stood at the edge of the porch, uninvited and clearly furious. Late 50s, meticulously styled blonde bob, a designer tracksuit and matching purse. Her tone carried the confidence of someone used to barking orders and getting results. "That generator is an eyesore and it's making noise. I can hear it from my garden." I looked up, measured her calmly, and replied evenly, "Ma'am, this powers my daughter's medical equipment. We've had a power outage, and she needs it to breathe." "I don't care what she has," she snapped. "I'm Veronica Langley, president of the Mountain Crest HOA. Section 8 of our community agreement clearly states, no visible mechanical equipment from the street. And that includes generators." Behind me, Olivia sat quietly, her wide hazel eyes blinking behind her glasses. She didn't speak, but I could feel her anxiety spike. Her hand tugged weakly at the blanket across her lap, a small signal of her discomfort. "It's okay, Liv," I said gently, standing tall and facing the woman square on. "This is medical equipment. The Americans with Disabilities Act protects reasonable accommodations like this." "No exceptions," Veronica barked, stepping further onto the porch without being invited. "I've run this HOA for 15 years. I'm not about to let property values drop because you people think the rules don't apply to you." That phrase "you people" hung in the air like a grenade. My jaw clenched, not just from her casual cruelty, but from the implication buried beneath her words. I'd faced warlords in the Middle East who showed more restraint. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave our property." "Or what?" She shot back, pulling out her phone. "I'm documenting this. You have 1 hour to remove that generator or face a $500 fine. Every day it remains, it doubles." "That generator is not optional," I replied. "It's keeping my daughter alive." Veronica looked at Olivia, again really looked this time, and her nose wrinkled as if in disgust. "You should have thought about that before moving into a premium neighborhood. There are facilities for kids like her." Olivia's hand gripped mine, trembling. "Miss Langley," I said, my voice a level colder now. "Leave. Now. I'm not going anywhere until that generator is gone." Olivia's ventilator beeped sharply. I turned instantly, checking her vitals. Her oxygen levels were dipping from stress. "Deep breaths, sweetheart," I whispered. "Stay with me." "See?" Veronica sneered. "All of this because you won't follow the rules." I ignored her and focused entirely on my daughter. Her breathing was shallow, her cheeks pale. "Get out," I said, still not turning around. Not until... That's when I turned back. Whatever she saw in my eyes, it stopped her cold. She paused, and then, Almost as if spurred by some twisted sense of justification, she reached into her handbag and pulled out a compact silver pistol. "I feel threatened," she said, her voice shaking. "This is my right. I have a permit." I assessed everything in an instant. The gun was a small .380 semi-auto. Safety off. Finger already on the trigger on position. Nervous. Untrained. Dangerous. "You're pointing a weapon in the direction of a child who depends on medical equipment to survive," I said evenly. She raised the weapon slightly. "That alarm is disturbing the peace. Turn it off." I took a step forward, my voice a low growl. "Lower your weapon. Leave my home." She didn't. That was all the justification I needed. In one smooth, practiced motion, I stepped in, grabbed her wrist, disarmed her, and had her pinned in a pain-free restraint hold before she could blink. The gun slid across the porch, out of reach. It was a maneuver my Delta Force team had once called the Ghost. Quick. Invisible. Final. Veronica's face morphed from shock to outrage. "Let me go. This is assault." "Olivia," I called over my shoulder. "Sweetheart, can you reach your phone?" Despite her distress, my daughter managed to press the emergency button on her custom communication device. A moment later, I heard her soft, breathy voice. 911, there's a lady with a gun. My dad needs help." Veronica thrashed in my grip. "My husband is Judge Langley. You'll be in jail before dinner. You brought a firearm into the home of a disabled child," I said. "He'll be interested in that, I'm sure." For the first time, fear cracked through her arrogance. I didn't mean I wasn't actually going to. Save it for the police. 7 minutes later, the flashing lights pulled into the cul-de-sac. Officers leapt out, hands on holsters. I raised mine slowly, stepping back from Veronica, who now sat on the porch bench in stunned silence. One officer looked at me, eyes narrowing. "Captain Andrew Kincaid?" I nodded reluctantly. "Operation Iron Mantle, right? I read about you. Delta Force. Holy hell." He turned to his partner. "She picked the wrong house." As paramedics examined Olivia, I gave my statement. Veronica tried pleading, then threatening, then crying. She was arrested on charges of trespassing, brandishing a weapon, endangering a disabled minor, and attempting to interfere with medical equipment. "My husband will have your badges," she screamed as she was placed in the squad car. The officer who'd recognized me glanced over his shoulder. "No, ma'am. I think your husband's going to have some questions for you." He was right. Judge Langley filed for emergency divorce proceedings that same afternoon. In the following days, our quiet little street transformed. Neighbors we hadn't even met came by, carrying flowers and casseroles and ashamed expressions. "We should have warned you," said an elderly man named Tom. "We were all afraid of her. She made us hide my grandson's wheelchair ramp behind the garage," a woman named Sonia whispered. "Said it was too clinical looking." Within 72 hours, a group of local dads built a weather-resistant enclosure around our generator. "It's technically a decorative feature," Tom said with a wink. "Approved by her last year. Funny how that works." By the end of the week, the HOA board, now free from Veronica's grip, passed an emergency amendment to the neighborhood covenant. It became known as the Olivia Kincaid Clause. Protections for medically necessary devices and accessibility improvements enforceable immediately. Veronica faced criminal charges, but, in an unexpected twist, opted for restorative justice over jail time. As part of her plea deal, she began volunteering at a facility for children with special needs. 6 months later, the neighborhood held its first Accessibility Awareness Day in a local park. Olivia was the guest of honor. Kids brought her handmade cards and stickers for her ventilator. She smiled so wide that day it made me choke up. Near the edge of the crowd, I spotted Veronica. She wore jeans and a volunteer shirt. No heels, no designerbach, just a quiet presence. She didn't come close. The restraining order still held, but she nodded. A single gesture that spoke of remorse and, perhaps, understanding. That night, as I helped Olivia with her breathing treatment, she asked, "Dad, do you think people can really change?" I hesitated. "I think they can surprise you," I said, "both in how cruel they can be and how much they can grow." She looked up at me, blinking slowly. In Delta Force, did you have to hurt bad people? My chest tightened. Sometimes. To protect others. She nodded. But you always try to give them a chance first, right? I stared at her, humbled by her insight. Yes, I always did. She smiled. That's why you're my hero, Dad. Not because you can fight, but because you'd rather not have to. And in that moment, as the machines hummed softly and peace finally wrapped around our home like a blanket, I realized something profound. I had spent 2 decades ending conflict through precision and control. But here, with my daughter, and in this neighborhood that had rediscovered its heart, the greatest victory I'd ever achieved was helping to build something that didn't need to be fought for at all.